Hey, it's time for some vertebrae. So right here, I got one vertebra. Look at that vertebra. Real. Nice looking vertebra. It's a thoracic vertebra. We'll see why that is in a second. So I got a nice thoracic vertebra here. Let's start taking a look at it. So get my pen ready here. So here it is. I'm holding it by the body. This is the body right here. So we got several bones, what we call the big part, the body. There's the body. And then right next to the body, I've got an arch coming off of it right there. That's a vertebral arch. That forms the vertebral foramen through which the spinal cord will pass. Now, the vertebral arch is formed by several things. Connected to the body right here is a little structure called a pedicle. So this is a pedicle right here. Pedicle. Pedicle on the other side as well, right there. That's a pedicle. So if I go like this, there's the pedicle right there. Now, if I look at it again, I got my body, I got my arch, and right here, this is the lamina. Kind of skinnier right here. That's the lamina, part of the arch. So we had the pedicle, and then we got the lamina. And that's on both sides. So two laminae here and here. Two pedicles here and here. Okay, these are basic vertebral structures. Other stuff we can say. Well, coming out on each side, I have a pair of transverse processes. Is it going to be for muscle attachment? But also, in the case of a thoracic vertebra like we've got here, the ribs are going to articulate with those transverse processes. Last but not least, coming out of the back, I have a spinous process. All right, coming posteriorly, a spinous process, also for muscle attachment. There are other processes too. Going up, I have a pair of superior articular processes. And going down, I'm going to flip it over. So now it's upside down. So right here and right here, let me turn it a little bit. These are the inferior articular processes. Now, there's actually a smooth face right here. That's actually the inferior articular facet, both sides. And on the superior one, so again, superior side now. On the superior one, there is a superior articular facet, a smooth face. So these superior facets will articulate. I'm going to grab a random vertebra. What else do I have here? A random vertebra. It's like, which one do I want to use? The superior facets are going to articulate with the inferior facets of another vertebra. So the inferior facets of one will articulate the superior facets of the other. Gives them some stability, prevents excessive rotation, that sort of thing. Okay, so I've got my thoracic vertebra here. We went over its basic parts, but there's more to it than that. All right. We do see the spinous process. It is pointing down. It makes the whole guy look kind of like a giraffe, don't you think? I think it's a giraffe. Definitely. So that's the spinous process. If it's really pointing down like that, if it's long and going down, it's a good clue that it is a thoracic vertebra. But there are other clues as well on this guy. And let's look at this transverse process here, okay? So here's my body. I'm holding it by the spinous process. This is a transverse process here. And there's a little smooth region. Somebody has written on it with pencil. I don't like that person. But that little smooth region right there, okay, is called the transverse costal facet. We see another one, if we can turn it a little bit, right there. That is where the tubercle of the rib is going to articulate. So the rib's going to come in and kind of articulate with that guy. So right there, transverse costal facet, that little smooth region. Can you see that? Without it getting too blurry? I don't know. There it is. Transverse costal facet. Okay. There's also other facets. On the body, there's a little facet right here. Maybe we can see this one better. Let's see. There's another facet right here. That is a superior costal demifacet. And then there's also going to be an inferior costal demifacet down here. So superior costal demifacet and inferior costal demifacet. They're also costal, which tells us they're going to articulate with the ribs as well. In fact, it's the head of the rib that comes in and articulates with these facets, these demifacets rather, okay? So we had a couple more clues that this is a thoracic vertebra. Downward spinous process, presence of transverse costal facets to articulate with the tubercle of the rib, plus the presence of these costal demifacets, there's one right there, to articulate with the head of the rib. So that's pretty much it for our thoracic vertebra, except I totally forgot one more thing. There's an inferior notch right in here. See that? It's an inferior notch. And what happens is, and I know these two guys don't match up, but I don't care. When I put these two vertebrae together, where the notch was, now we have a hole. So we have a hole between vertebrae. That hole between vertebrae is called the intervertebral foramen, and that's where spinal nerves will be able to exit the spinal cord and come out. So thoracic vertebra, basic vertebral structure is done. See ya next time.